Foam 1. Okay, so what we're going to do today is we're going to practice our tones and how we can do shading to create foam. And we're also going to be looking at mark making as well. So what I want you to do is on a new page in your sketchbook, I want you to draw 5 spheres. Okay, so you can either, it's up to you, you can either draw around something to make a sphere, you can use a compass, or you can draw them freehand if you think that you can, okay? And they can be all different sizes. Okay, once you're happy with your spheres, what we're going to do is, like we did last week, we're going to decide on a light source. So I'm going to go from here, the light's going to hit my sphere, and we're going to use different mark making to make them look 3-dimensional. So to begin with, I'm going to start just by shading. So like we did last week, I'm thinking about the light's hitting it here. So up here it's going to be much lighter. And you can see how I'm just curving my my shading because I'm doing a sphere. So I'm making these contours. And it's going to be much darker down here. Okay, today what I want us to do as well is we're going to start to mix different levels of pencils as well. So I've been just using a B for that, and now what I'm going to do is get a heavier pencil. Oh, it's a 9B. Okay, so I'm going to get the darker tones using a heavier pencil, and you can see you don't have to really push down that much to get this much darker tone. So I'm going to add the darker tone to the edge of the sphere, which is the part that doesn't see the light as much. It's already looking quite 3D. And now what I need to do is I need to just practice graduating the tone, so making it just slowly get lighter as it's getting closer to the light source. So I'm going to go back with my B now and just start to build up the tones here. Now what I'm going to do is add a little bit of a shadow. So if the light's hitting it here, the shadow is going to be here. It's going to be lighter the further away it is from the sphere, and it's going to be darker the closer it is to the sphere. Okay? There is no gap between the two. Okay, now that we've done our one sphere, what we're going to do is we're going to play with mark making. And we're going to fill in the other 4 spheres, but we're going to be using different marking techniques, okay? So we just shaded this one however we wish to shade it. So now what we're going to do is we're going to look at shading in the sphere using just lines. So it actually, it makes it look, it makes it look a little like hair, or a kiwi. So again, you're going to have to pick where your light is going to hit the sphere, and I'm going to use a B pencil, and I'm just going to start to plan out first the contours of this sphere. Okay. Like so. Just very lightly. Okay, and then the same as this one, it's going to be lighter here, and then as it gets closer to the end of the sphere, it's going to become darker. So I have a lovely sharp B pencil, and I'm just going to start and build this up. I'm going to take a heavier pencil to just make it darker the further away it is from that middle part where the light source is hitting it. So I'm just using a 9B. It's actually really dark. I might go in with a maybe like a 6B or a 4B as well. And the same as we did here, we can just create the illusion of a shadow. Have a go at this scribbly technique. Now it's up to you which one you choose. I'm going to go for this sphere here. I'm going to probably do the light source up here again. And you're going to try and create the whole sphere through scribbles. And hopefully now you've had a little bit of practice. So I'm going to just start just like lightly making these little scribbles. And then they're going to go all the way down my circle. Try not to go over the line of the circle. If you do, don't worry, you can just erase what you did. Okay, so the light's going to hit it here. And as I go further and further down, I'm going to just keep pressing harder and harder onto that sphere. Okay, so you probably know already now what I'm going to do to make the tones even darker. I am going to go and use a heavier pencil. So I'm going to go with my 6B. And oh, see, it's already getting much darker the further it gets away from the light source. Okay, we're nearly finished. So the next technique we're going to do, I think, is going to be cross-hatching. Cross-hatching is when you shade like so. Okay? This is called cross-hatching. So again, I'm going to go for the light sources here. I've got my B, which is nice and sharp. So now what I'm going to do is, I've kind of covered most of my midtones. I've covered some of my highlights, the lighter section of this sphere. And now I want to go over some of these to make the darker part of this sphere. So I've just gone and got my 6B now. And now I'm going to add some more cross hatching on top of what I already did. Notice how I move the page as well to help me. Okay. Then I take my eraser and I'm just going to lightly go over some of the lines over here so that they're a little lighter. And then I'm going to get my 2B. Where's my 2B? Oh, my B. And I'm just going to, again, like this one, I'm going to add the shadow. But I'm going to add it as a crosshatch. Nice and quick. Okay. Okay, the last one. The last one we're going to do is called stippling. Okay. So again, you need to just find the light source. This is what you're going to do. You're going to try and create a 3D sphere just through dots. This is going to be probably the longest one you're going to do, because stippling does require patience and time. So a little bit like the cross hatching, I'm going to leave a little circle at the top and then I'm going to add okay, so I've just added the mid-tones, and now what I'm going to do, I'm going to take my heavier pencil and I'm going to add the dark tones as well, so they're going to be much further away. Just again take an eraser to create the highlights, and then we're going to create a shadow again, and we're going to do it with stippling.